The issue that we are going to be speaking about tonight transcends political boundaries. And that is why we expect that the assembled have different political persuasions. And as we start in this evening's meeting, it is my pleasure to bring to the podium.
Yes, good evening, Portsmouth, and good evening, good night to everyone of Dominica. And before we proceed, and before we move into any other business, remember, we must acknowledge the presence of the one who guiding us and protecting us on a day-to-day basis. So wherever you are at this point in time, let us join with me as we go directly to our Heavenly Father for guidance and protection throughout this meeting. Almighty and eternal Father, we thank you tonight, and we thank you for the help and the strength in which you have been bestowed upon us. We thank you for your grace and your mercies. We thank you for your many blessings in which you have bestowed upon us as a people and as a nation. And we are here in Portsmouth, and we are asking you to be with us throughout this journey as we bring the message and as we connect to our brothers and sisters in Portsmouth, here in Dominica and overseas. So tonight, Lord, we are here not alone, but you are with us. And we want tonight to be a night that will never be forgotten. May you guide us and protect us in no other name, but in the name of your wonderful Son, our Heavenly Father, who has been with us through thick and thin. Thank you, and may God bless us, and may God bless this meeting tonight here in Portsmouth, Dominica. God bless one, God bless all. God bless the United Workers' Party, which is their platform here tonight. But I am here, and you are here, and we are here in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Portsmouth, and we will speak truth to power without fear or without favor, because all of us are Dominicans, and all of us is Dominicans, and we belonging to this nation, we belonging to this piece of island, and we are here, and we are solid, and we are here without fear, and we will be connecting with you and to our brothers and sisters who are already tuned in overseas, waiting for the solidarity and the truth and the message that we need to hear, and you need to hear, and the people of Portsmouth need to hear. Stay tuned, stay with us, we are here with you, and you are not alone. Dominica with you, people of Portsmouth. Thank you, Mr. George.
Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah, it is good to be in the presence of the Lord. Always. We have to give him praise and honor for all he has done. Would Mr. Oswald George kindly report backstage? You are required urgently. Mr. Oswald George, wherever you are, kindly report to Mr. Johansa. You are required urgently. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are in the town of Portsmouth. The issue that brings us here is because of the departure of Ross School of Medicine. You've heard a lot, and you will hear a lot more. It is not my business to carry on and educate you continually for the night, but to introduce the speakers who are going to articulate on the different points that affect the departure of Ross from our shores. So at this time, it pleases me to bring to the podium a gentleman from the north, a gentleman who lives very close to Ross School of Medicine, Mr. Pat Corbett. Mr. Pat Corbett to address us. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me say good evening to the many people I see here tonight from every part of Dominica. Oh, it feels nice to have you here, and On behalf of the town of Portsmouth, I'll take the pleasure, in fact, to be the first one to welcome you here in Portsmouth tonight. I would also like to welcome in a slightly different way the many Dominicans who are listening to us throughout the Caribbean and those further afield via the internet. Let me say to all of you, welcome to this United Workers' Party meeting here in Portsmouth tonight. My brothers and sisters, when I got the news that Ross had left Dominica, I wasn't even here, I was in Canada. And somebody called me and told me to go online because the Prime Minister is going to speak to the nation. And brothers and sisters, when I tuned in, I couldn't believe what I was hearing, that Ross University was actually leaving here. Brothers and sisters, I have been a landlord for almost a quarter century. I'm among some of the oldest landlords here in Portsmouth, not in terms of age, but in terms of actually being a landlord. So try to decipher that. And brothers and sisters, we, the landlords, we have made the biggest investment out next to the university themselves. And to see that all these negotiations have been going on and we have been kept in the dark. Nobody knows anything. The landlords don't know what's going on. And brothers and sisters, to get that bombshell, brothers and sisters, that was very, very hurtful. Right now, the nation, to the landlords of Portsmouth, nobody is talking. Everybody is afraid to talk. Well, brothers and sisters, as those of you who know me, and I would say most of you here know me, you all know that Pat Corbett is not one who is afraid of talking. Brothers and sisters, many of you have heard me say that I am on retirement, and I am retiring, brothers and sisters. But let me say to you that I have found it extremely difficult to retire. Because, brothers and sisters, we the older folks, we're hoping that the young ones would step up to the plate. But when you see that they are not quite ready yet, you still have to hang around a little longer to give them that assistance, to help mold them, to help shape them into the type of persons that they should be insofar as looking out for our country, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, our country has been dealt a terrible blow. Not only the landlords, but you have all the vendors, all the persons who work in the hospitality industry, students, and do everything for them, brothers and sisters. We all know what Ross University wanted. We are the university, the students are among us, and we know what they want. And brothers and sisters, how can you so mismanage a relationship of 40 years, and to relationship to go down like that, brothers and sisters, and they have no feeling whatsoever. Home, because you have small children, you figure, well, your wife wouldn't leave. And then you come home and the kids are with their grandmother or somebody like that, the wife is gone. So brothers and sisters, it was very naive on the part of the government to believe that they can mismanage a relationship with Ross University and believe that because they have a few buildings at Picard that this is too much and they will not leave it. But brothers and sisters, any government that will behave like that, I would have to call them a novice. Some time ago, brothers and sisters, the word novice was used in our politics, and the Labour Party tried to capitalize on it and brainwash the less educated people in our country to give them some impression as though novice was something. Novice is simply someone who has very little knowledge or relatively new to a position. So they are kind of learning, and this is basically what it is. Because brothers and sisters, when you believe for any government to believe that they can take Ross University or any company, foreign company operating here for granted, and believe that because they have a few buildings around that they will not leave it and go. They can easily write it off, brothers and sisters. Ross will take all their important things in those buildings and they will leave the shell there for us. So for any government to misread that relationship and take Ross for granted and believe they cannot leave because they have those buildings there, brothers and sisters, this is a terrible mistake. And we, the people of Portsmouth and the North, Cottage, Capuchin, Clifton, Paybush, Mopac, Benz, Thibault, Viekaz, all these areas, Colliho, all these people converge. Many of them work right there at the Ross University. Many of them are involved in Ross University. So it's not only a Portsmouth thing, brothers and sisters. You know, I was in Roseau today, brothers and sisters, and I met a few friends of mine in Roseau, and he told me, well, you know, we're really sorry for the Portsmouth people, you know, what they're going through right now. But I told him that this is something that will affect the entire country. Because when one major utility company lost $9 million last year, and they are projected to lose way more than that, maybe 12 or 15 million, brothers and sisters, who is going to pay for it? The companies will not accept it, brothers and sisters. They will not absorb it. So it's you and I, citizens of Dominica, who will have to pay higher light bill, higher phone bills, higher water bills, higher landlords are very quiet. But there is word going around. I do not know the origin of those words, but there are words going around right now that the landlords are going to get a big money. So right now the landlords are sitting and they're quiet because they feel if they come out and talk like me, that if a money pass, they wouldn't get. But let me say, if in truth and in fact money really passes around, if they don't want to give me because I voice my opinion, that's too bad. The Bible says, man, I will still live. So, brothers and sisters, I do not know if that is a ploy, because you know the old saying, the longer you stay, you know, things will kind of melt down. So I don't know if that is something which is orchestrated to quiet this situation, so the landlords will believe that there's money coming, and they're talking big money. I look on the social media, brothers and sisters, and they're talking big money. So landlords believe that they're really going to get big money, so everybody's quiet. Right after the incident with Ross, brothers and sisters, there were a few landlords who started talking, but I noticed that they have gotten very quiet. I don't know if they're a little bit afraid that if money passed, they wouldn't get. But if they don't want to give yours truly, no problem. Brothers and sisters, I am not going to be very long because we have many speakers here tonight. But I want to say that many landlords are also not speaking because they are still in shock. Many landlords are in shock, brothers and sisters. I speak to them one-on-one. Some of them don't even want to talk to me in public because they feel they don't want to be seen talking to me. Because they feel if they are seen talking to me and anything is coming, maybe they might not get. But brothers and sisters, this is the state of affairs in this country, and we have to eliminate this fear in our country. We have to eliminate fear, brothers and sisters. What is all that fear about? Dominica belongs to us, brothers and sisters. And we cannot be intimidated who have all their millions stashed all over the world. Brothers and sisters, we need to stand up. We need to rescue this country. And this situation at Ross University, brothers and sisters, this was very poorly managed. I don't know if it's intentionally done or what was the story behind it. But brothers and sisters, this is a modern-day travesty when a man can sit down and watch all what you have worked for your entire life taken away from you. And it wasn't hurricane, it wasn't fire, it was man-made disaster by insensitive people who have their own interests. Sometimes you have to wonder, brothers and sisters, if they don't have interest, similar interest on the other side across the waters. But I will leave that for other speakers, brothers and sisters. So let me say in winding up, I am very happy, extremely happy to see so many of you here tonight. But this is just the first step, brothers and sisters, and the struggle continues. Good night, and thank you very much, brothers and sisters.
No, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. All right? Now, if I am not getting the energy, we might have to go around the town of Portsmouth doing some exercise and come back here. Okay? We must be energized to take that message home. Right now, it again pleases me to bring to the podium the son of our soil here in Portsmouth, Mr. Jefferson James, the caretaker of the Portsmouth constituency, representing the United Workers' Party, Mr. Jefferson James.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Portsmouth! Bon Dodan, we there? Greetings, greetings, brothers and sisters. To start with, I want to touch a little on my Haitian community here, because I know with the issue we have at hand, where Ross has departed from Dominica, all are we in the same boat. I say, all are we in the same boat? Because I say qui vient ici, nous venons pour travailler, pour faire meilleur pour nous, pour famille nous. Après ça, nous avons une situation qui n'est pas bonne. Bagay ja wed, bagay ka vini plus wed d'accord. Puis Ross quitte nous. And the Spanish-speaking community as well. I know there's a lot of us in Portsmouth that have come here to make a livelihood. Así que para la gente que habla en español, yo tengo un mensaje para ustedes esta noche. Que aquí en Dominica la cosa no va a ser más fácil. Porque por culpa de ese gobierno, la universidad, que es un pilo duro aquí en la economía de este país, se ha ido. Se ha ido por la incompetencia de ese gobierno. Y así tenemos que luchar para cambiar las cosas. Hay que luchar para nuestra familia y para este país, para vencer lo que queremos vencer aquí. So brothers and sisters, at hand we have a very serious issue. For though some of us might say we were not working at Ross, that it has nothing to do with us, all of us will feel it one way or the other. Because there at Ross, we had those that were employed directly. We had those working in the library, the secretaries, the lab assistants. We had those in restaurants, ground staff, electrical and AC. We had plumbing, cleaning, security. We had all these people that were employed directly inside of Ross. And today, they are left with the question, what is going to happen to us? We have those that are employed indirectly. The farmers, the fishermen, the entertainers, bus drivers. People from all walks of life are being impacted by the loss of Ross. And so, my brothers and sisters, when we look at things, we know that we have a serious issue. And to address that issue, we must first study it. My brothers and sisters, the cause of this problem of having Ross to leave our shore is the very cause for which we have been lobbying here in Portsmouth. Because when we look at our infrastructure, we've been suffering for the longest while. Years after years, we've been suffering. When you look at the road from Portsmouth to the Manville Airport, we have all the bridges without any railing, security at high risk. Neglect, this is what we have been facing here. So my brothers and sisters, it's not only a Ross issue, it's the issue that have been affecting us all along. When we look at our healthcare system here, It is a shame to say that we do not have not one hospital in Dominica. Because up at PMH, we lack the basic facilities of a Class A hospital. We do not have that. In Portsmouth, we have nothing at all. Because not even an X-ray we can take. You go to the hospital and you just get painkillers and they send you home. When you go to Marigot, the hospital is still waiting. It's on the waiting list. For how long are we going to be on that waiting list? And these are the issues that Ross has been seeing here. The very issues that we've been complaining about. My brothers and sisters, it hurts me when we look at security. Ross University being an institution of America background, where security of the citizens come first. When we look at what happened after Maria, even the very citizens of Dominica were afraid. The merchants in the Picard area were afraid. The merchants all over Dominica were afraid because this government has failed to secure the land. They have failed to bring security to the people. So my brothers and sisters, when we look at this issue, we must ask our Africa. At this moment, let me take a pause for the cause and welcome Q95 online. This is power to the people. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it hurts me to reflect back to Erica when the students were in jeopardy here in Dominica and we did not have one decent port that the students could exit this island safely. And students had to risk their lives on the pier here in Portsmouth to take fish boats to go to Guadeloupe and get their flight from Guadeloupe onward. And this is one of the main issues that we've been having here when we speak of international airport. International airport, where this institution has spoken about international airport in their back pocket, in briefcase, on sideline, playing on the minds of the people. This is what they have been doing, taking us for a ride. So while we've been here struggling, they are here living lavishly, right? Having fun on the backs of the people of this. We cannot run from it. Speaking, a lot of us are speaking behind closed doors, but it's time that we come out and share our grievances, because our livelihood is more important to us than this labor administration. When you look at this administration, it's a shame. We talk about lazy. This is a lazy administration. And they have to go. It's time for them to go. My brothers and sisters, I must say that instead of bringing hope to the people after the departure of Ross, this government, they have been bent on silence. That the people will remain here complacent. But my brothers and sisters, we have to stand up. We have to stand up. Because if we look, our issues here in Portsmouth are not being tabled at the House. Gone are the days when respectable men were representing us here in Portsmouth and they would bring our issues to the House for discussion. Today, we find the representative from Portsmouth hiding behind the skirts of the leader of his party. I say skirts because none of them in this administration have the fortitude to stand up for what they believe. And so when our humble friend brought up the Ross issue, instead of this representative standing up in defense of the people of Portsmouth and Ross, he took offense. My brothers and sisters, this is what honorable men would do. The people who take our issues at heart, they would stand up and defend us in the house. But today, we see them hiding. What a shame. What a shame, I say, my brothers and sisters. And so, we have identified most of the problems that we have. And as I always say, the party that I follow, under the leadership of Honorable Lennox Linton, is a party that is well placed on educating the people, well placed on bringing change to Dominica. So my brothers and sisters, the people from Portsmouth, it is no laughing issue, it is no laughing matter, it is nothing to be ashamed of. We all know that a government selected by the people, for the people, should work for the people. So we have that developmental plan in Portsmouth. And if these representatives have failed us over and over, they know very well. The PAL rep knows about that developmental plan. The Prime Minister knows about it, and yet still they play a blind eye to it. We need to look at solutions. And we need to embrace on what we have. The agricultural sector should be developed so that the Portsmouth port can come back on stream and all our farmers can get work. We need to look at the ferry and shipping agency. This administration, I guarantee you, will work with people like Neville Wade, the shipping agency, CIC, Grace Hill, Beverly, and so on, to ensure that the shipping industry in Portsmouth comes back on stream and create employment that will fill in the voids created by Ross. My brothers and sisters, we need to work on our healthcare system. Look at the hospital. We have shortage of doctors. Look at the ambulance. It's a shame. What we have now is an empty bus. But we will ensure that the healthcare of our people are put up to first class. So the issue that we have with Ross leaving because of these things, it will be no more. So my brothers and sisters, I want to leave that with you tonight, that we will continue to educate you as time goes by. And so, in order to move forward, we must not be afraid to stand up for what we believe. We must work with what we have and embrace new ideas, new alternatives. Because it's with this new alternative that change will come. And with this change, we all will be able to stand as independent people here in Portsmouth, in Dominica. And so we will shine and be a better nation, not a nation dependent on handouts, my brothers and sisters. So let us not be afraid. For those of us who thought that we might come here and be drunk on alcohol and party, no. Tonight we are going to leave here drunk on information. My brothers and sisters, the power is in your hand.
More power to JJ. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting more powerful as we go on. And now we bring north of Portsmouth. North of Portsmouth, our newly declared candidate who is going to contest the election for the United Workers' Party in the Cottage constituency. The tireless worker, the determined worker, the gentleman who is going to bring the Cottage constituency on the side of the United Workers' Party when the next general election is called to help us form the next government, Mr. Marcus Romain.
Yeah, man. I jump you, boy. I jump you, man. Workers! Workers! Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's nice to see you all
Everybody looking so pretty and looking so handsome and nice tonight. Workers! Yes, my people. Tonight is a night for us to touch a little bit on Ross University's departure. Brothers and sisters, you all know that I worked at Ross for 20 years. And it's heartbreaking that Ross had to leave Dominica. When I heard the news, the first thing I could have done was to cry. Because I know the contribution that Ross have been making, not just for me, but for the entire country. And more or less for Portsmouth and the North. Brothers and sisters, Ross have been providing scholarships to students to study medicine and to study in other fields. Ross have been the backbone of Dominica, providing roughly 30 to 40% of the country's GDP. How can we lose Ross? How can we lose Ross, ladies and gentlemen? And what hurts me the most is we have 3 ministers breaking the news to us, and the 3 of them are from the North constituencies. We have the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and the Minister from Portsmouth, whose family grew up working at Ross, renting to Ross. What a shame, brothers and sisters. Reginald Austrie, the Minister for Cottage, Deputy Prime Minister, worked at Ross for close to 20-something years. And yet still, those idiots let Ross go. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, when I looked at these guys bring the news to us, the one from Portsmouth, digging his nose. The one from Cottage, he called himself the Bulldog. Well, that news hit him so hard, he fell asleep. And the so-called Prime Minister that killed the economy with the rest of his team, he was smiling like it's a joke. Can you imagine you losing Ross University? And the 3 people breaking the news to you reminded me of in my young days when I looked at the 3 Stooges, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, what a shame. The 3 Stooges breaking the news to you that the biggest investment of Dominica is leaving our shores. What a shame. And the most hurtful thing is that after you work for an institution like Ross, ladies and gentlemen, after you work for an institution like Ross, you know the contributions that Ross have been making for this country. How can you not take it upon yourself and push for Ross University to remain in Dominica? What a hurtful thing. Are these guys really serious? Do they really care about us, ladies and gentlemen? Or are they taking us for a ride? I think they are trying to take us for a ride. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will teach them a lesson. We will hit them. You remember in the days of our youth when they used to hit us, when we were really bad, they used to hit us with we will be the next government of Dominica to bring development to this country, to bring a change in the economy, to bring us back to where we were. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are the laughing stock of the Caribbean. We last in foreign direct investment. We last in just name it. We last. The only thing we first in is appearance. We are the most beautiful people in the Caribbean. Brothers and sisters, I would like to let you all that we, the United Workers' Party, have plans for this country. We have plans starting from Capuchin. companies to come to our shores. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want the Free Stooges. We want the United Workers' Party with the strong man, Lennox Linton, as leader of our party, as Prime Minister of Dominica. We want Lennox Linton to be the next Prime Minister to seriously move this country forward, to stop taking things for a joke. How can you be breaking the worst news in Dominica history and picking your nose? Sakwe. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I, working at Ross for 20 years, suspected that things was going to get rough and ugly. Because, brothers and sisters, as I have said before, 8 years ago, roughly, Ross wanted to use the Portsmouth Hospital for them to do the 5th semester rotations. 8 years ago, Ross begged this government for an international airport, for a hospital to do rotations, brothers and sisters. 2 years after that, for those of you who don't know, the 5th semester was moved to Miami, and we lost 250 students, 250 apartments being rented, 250 people spending money in our economy. That happened 6 years ago. That's when the 5th semester moved to Miami. They didn't take heed. Peace, you pack a one sa development here. Roughly a year after, Ross bought 135 acres of land in the Bahamas with plans of moving to Bahamas. And my good friends sitting down in government, where they have been for the past 20 years, 18 years roughly, and they did nothing. If you see the people move the 5th semester to Miami, you're not asking yourself a question? They move. They bought land in the Bahamas. You're not asking yourself a question? Brothers and sisters, you sit down there every 5 years, you promising Dominicans an international airport, and you laughing like it's a joke. So Dominicans are a joke, but you don't know you're not just fooling Dominicans, you're fooling Ross. So all you fool Ross the first 5 years, all you fool them the second 5 years, and all you fool us and them the last election, all you have a briefcase coming down. Wider people of Dominica, brothers and sisters? Nothing. You telling me, brothers and sisters, in the Cottage constituency for 20 years, a man running a constituency for 20 years, right now, it's looking like every time they do bad, they get in a promotion. So Reggie don't develop Cottage, they put him deputy prime minister. One closed down Brisbane, they give him a big job. I don't want to call them. Ladies and gentlemen, when you with a party and when you do something bad, they're giving you a promotion. What do you expect? Every beach day, brothers and sisters, every August Monday, Purple Turtle Beach have a blockage. Our minister passing through Purple Turtle Beach every Sunday. The beach is being blocked because of Hector John, brothers and sisters, and the man cannot build a bypass. The man cannot do a little parking lot in Purple Turtle, much less to develop the Purple Turtle Beach. Brothers and sisters, we need to develop the country. We need to do other things apart from sitting down and depending on one company. That is why when Ross live right now, nous sise as if es nous pas à faire rien, puis celle ça nous ka garder compte, c'était Ross University. What else is there? We have agriculture, we have Guadeloupe, we have Marigaland, and we have Saints right across our shores. I remember in the early days when Fête Maouin was taking place in Portsmouth, the amount of people, French people that came down. We used to have canoe race from Guadeloupe to Dominica. We used to have French people coming in for 1 to 2 weeks, brothers and sisters, renting houses, partying, eating and drinking, spending money. Yo très fait maouin. So everything that creating an income in this country, this government have killed it. So brothers and sisters, I don't want to stay too long tonight, but I think you have gotten the message that I have to bring for you. And brothers and sisters, the United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, team number 1, with a wonderful leader, a man who has heart for Dominica, a man who loves this country, a man who will do anything in his power to make our life better. Brothers and sisters, that is the man we need for the next Prime Minister of Dominica. And with him, a competent team, a team of accountants, a team of engineers, a team of project managers like myself, brothers and sisters, a competent team that can take this country from the Free Stooges and move us into the 21st century and bring us up to par, brothers and sisters, with the rest of the Caribbean islands who have left us behind. Workers! Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, fellow supporters of the United Workers' Party, team members, Mr. Leader Lennox Linton, thank you and good night.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting hotter. You're getting the fire. And I have an apology to make to Marcus Romain. I know where to put him next time on our program. He begged me, so I have 2 kubulis for him. Now, I must bring to the podium our caretaker in the Maho constituency, the gentleman who is frightening the PAL rep. The PAL rep in Maho has all but given up already. Actually, he's just waiting for Senator Phillip Thomas. He's waiting for Senator Phillip Thomas to take his place, his rightful place in Parliament as the elected representative. Let's give him a warm welcome to the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from the Maho constituency. Brothers and sisters, I too mourn the loss of Ross with the people from the north. And I can understand why many of them are not here this evening, brothers and sisters. Because when you're mourning, you have to stay in silence, and I respect their mourning. But brothers and sisters, this silence is becoming too loud. And we in the United Workers' Party have put our people first. The motto of the party is people come first. Brothers and sisters, we have lost an institution which came to Dominica in 1978. And 40 years later, we are losing it. We have lost it. Ross is not coming back. Let us agree to that fact. It is gone. No Zazie Muzai, no Dimples, no smart thing, no big head Reggie can bring Ross back. The United Workers' Party alone, with its team, is there to explain to the people and to communicate with the people on the implications of how you negotiate, how you keep what you have, how you treasure the little that you have, and how you make sure that in everything that you do, representation is important. And this part of the island has not been getting the proper representation. We need better representation here, brothers and sisters. The economic activity that Ross brought to us, to many persons from 1978, it stretches from farmers. Farmers selling their plots of land and passing on something to their children and their grandchildren. Going to the bank, taking a loan, taking a mortgage. And brothers and sisters, all that time while our own people creeping up to the middle class, standing on their own, our government of the days had to be acting. We had the Labour Party of Patrick John, which started it in 1978. Ross survived. We had the Freedom Party, which came for 15 years. Ross survived. We had the United Workers' Party, which came for 4.5 years. Ross survived. And brothers and sisters, we have the Labour Party under El Supremo and the Free Stooges, and Ross is dead. I cannot accept that, brothers and sisters. Where is the representation? Where is the part that the government had to play to make sure that the infrastructure that Ross needs as an entity, as a business, was there? It seems that these guys felt that they had to be playing with toys all the time. When you see buildings, you see all kinds of things. That is not the business. Ross is bigger than the buildings. Ross is bigger than the land that is there. Dominica has been behind for too long. The United Workers' Party started an international airport. Brothers and sisters, we need the international airport, and we will get the international airport under United Workers' Party government. There is no way you can tell me Ross was not doing its part in terms of housing development, in terms of making the road safe. Ross did its part as a good corporate citizen. And you can't tell me that the tenants, the landlords were not doing their part. They were building units to the satisfaction of the students. They were upgrading them, furnishing them properly, air conditioned, everything. We saw restaurants popping up, laundry services, brothers and sisters. Everzole Dimon, Labour ka travail. Labour pa ka travail. This is a lazy bunch. The worst lazy bunch of administration that Dominica has ever gotten in its life. And they have to go, brothers and sisters. I really sympathize with the people of Portsmouth. I sympathize with all the fishermen who would benefit, all the business people. Brothers and sisters, you mean to tell me that we have to blame Maria? Look at the conditions of the roads. Our government has not understood that they have to upgrade the infrastructure so that as Ross is growing, you put in place things. It's not just telling them, well, look, take that duty free. Do this and do that. The duty free is not it, brothers and sisters. We need proper entertainment. We need proper road network, brothers and sisters. Can you recall? Workers' Party did that road from Gillett to Penfield, brothers and sisters. If that road was not there, where would the Prime Minister, where would he have to pass to go Penfield and Vickers? There, nobody. He would have to make the wrong all Paybush, go back there and climb up the hill. When the United Workers' Party come in office, we are going to bring a lot of business, a lot of ideas to you, brothers and sisters. And we are serious about infrastructure. We are serious about private sector, public partnering. So we will support the private sector as a government. We will not just take money and just throw down and tell you, look, we're giving people money for small business. We will evaluate projects on their merit and ensure that every project is sustainable, brothers and sisters. We will ensure in the farming industry we see viable things. We will not promise you hotels that you see springing up like Moroccan Hotel for how many years, and up to now, nothing coming out from it. And shame on that government. You mean to tell me you trading people in Portsmouth to go and serve, to go and fix bed, and up to now, we have one room in Morocco Hotel ready? I mean, come on, people of Portsmouth, you need to change your representatives. And I would suggest to the people of Portsmouth, next election, ask for a labor right that is independent. Don't go on any Labour Party ticket and vote for anybody here. It's time Portsmouth stand on its own. And the reason I say that, the Douglas family and them, and Ian not in it as far as I'm concerned. Ian just not in that one. RBD, Michael Douglas, Rosie Douglas, these were great honorable labor rights. They are turning in their graves. And I'm suggesting to you all, cast aside any Labour candidate and put in your representative as an independent and vote that person, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, in closing, I want to tell you that all is not lost. The United Workers' Party is growing from strength to strength. You heard recently that we brought on a very solid candidate from Cassibros, Teacher Ernie. You heard of Marcos a while ago. The pit bull cannot touch Marcos. Pala, he cannot touch him. Brothers and sisters, we have more to come. And we have a solid, principled leader. He doesn't want us to go down in the gutter. But sometimes I feel like going under the gutter, rising up and run out. But we will stay focused on the cause to put ourselves to represent you. And as the motto of our party say, people come first. We will continue to put you first, brothers and sisters. Have a good night.
Yes, we promised you a very good night. We promised you a night with action. And we're going to bring to the podium now a gentleman who makes the Labour Party tremble. Every day, I don't think Tony Astafan sleeps well. When he gets up in the morning, he has to say Thompson Fontaine. He's going to court and he says, "My Lord, Thompson Fontaine." He's coming in rebuttal in the court, "My Lord, Thompson Fontaine." He goes for lunch, he goes for dinner, he goes at home to sleep. Before he falls asleep, he says, "My Lord, bless Thompson Fontaine." This gentleman is obsessed with Thompson Fontaine. We are pleased to have him in our party, in our company. And tonight, from Sudan, live in flesh, we bring to the podium Dr. Thompson Fontaine. Let's welcome him, please.
Good night. Good night to Portsmouth. Good night to Dominica. It's really nice to be here tonight to talk to you and to talk to the people of Dominica, many that are listening overseas. It is something that I still am unable to understand or to explain to myself or to anybody. How does the government lose a 40-year-old institution? How do you lose a whole university? How do you lose the livelihoods of close to 400 people who depended either directly or indirectly for employment from Ross University? How do you lose a lion's share of your gross domestic product? And I know the government has been trying to make light and say, well, you know, it's 6%, it's 7%. Listen, the Barbados government did everything that they could to get just 1% added to their economy because they understood the importance of this. Listen, the Ross students spent in Dominica $55 to $60 million every year. Every year, the students spent in Dominica. How are you going to replace that? And you know, on the strength of this, I honestly believe that if you had any doubt whatsoever in your mind as to whether this Labour Party government is capable of running Dominica, you would get your answer. I remember just a few days after Hurricane Maria, I went on the radio and I begged and pleaded with Skerrit not to let Ross leave Dominica. I felt then that if Ross would leave, they would not return. And the records are there. I was on the radio pleading, saying you need to go set up a delegation, go to Washington, go to wherever Ross is, speak to them. Because if they leave, they may not come back. And obviously, the guy was up gallivanting, trying to sell passports as usual, trying to build an economy and passports. And that cannot happen. The Barbados government understands that to build their economy, they need institutions like Ross University. And that is why they did everything in their power to get Ross University to come to Barbados. I don't blame Mia Motley. I don't blame the Barbadians. They are looking after the interests of the people. It is up to the government of Dominica to look after the interests of its people. But Roosevelt Skerrit, and if you had any doubt about it, and I was telling somebody today, that if Dominicans have any doubt in their minds as to whether or not Roosevelt Skerrit and the Labour Party government cares about them, just look at how they handle the Ross situation. This is simply unacceptable. You know, we should elect leaders who will first and foremost look at the interests of the people of the country. That is why you elect your leaders. You elect leaders so that they can take care of you. They can create employment. They can create economic opportunity. But none of this is being done under the Dominica Labour Party. And it is a very sad thing. You know, the impact of Ross will continue. Let me warn the people of Dominica that we are just seeing the start of the impacts. In addition to those direct impacts that we've seen, rest assured that there are more job losses coming to Dominica. We just had this last week or so, or 2 weeks ago, J.E. Nassif shut down. Imagine, J.E. Nassif, a corporation that has been in Dominica over so many years, shut down with the loss of some 45 jobs. Kubuli shut down some 30-something jobs. And you go on, Bello, and all of the companies that we've lost, all the Coke factory, the Juicy factory, every single establishment, some of them going way back to the 1900s, have been lost under this Dominica Labour Party. And how much more can the people of Dominica take? How much more Dominica can you accept? People of Portsmouth, how much more can you accept? You know, I debated to myself whether I should, in fact, be talking to the people of Portsmouth. Because I cannot for the life of me understand how people that have had so much taken away from them will still continue to stand with this government. Your interests should come first. And when your interests cannot be guaranteed by this government, you need to get rid of this government. Stop this foolishness about voting for a party year in, year out, and no development. Stop this foolishness about supporting a party and they're not taking care of your interests. Here I am. I should be in Grandford, but I'm here in Portsmouth tonight. People came from Scotshead, from Soufriere, from Cassie Bruce to be here with you in Portsmouth. And where are you? Where are the people of Portsmouth when you need to stand up for your rights? When you need to stand up against this government? How many years has this government neglected the people of Portsmouth? And yet you keep going to the ballot year in, year out, voting for them. And you expect a different result. That, I'm told, is the definition of madness. To do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. So if you had any doubts in your mind, any doubts whatsoever that this Labour Party government does not care about the people of Portsmouth. Take a drive down to Picard. As we drove down tonight, we could see the houses. When a few months ago you would drive by, there were lights, there was activity, there were students in the restaurants, stuff was happening. I would stop and buy my juice just by the school down there. All of that gone. The houses are sitting there silently in darkness. No life in the area. Gone. And the only reason, and let nobody confuse you about this, the only reason why Ross University is no longer in Dominica is because Roosevelt Skerritt and the Dominican Labour Party did not fight for Ross University to remain in Dominica. They did not fight for it. While we were on radio begging and pleading to send a delegation, where was Roosevelt Skerritt? We saw it coming. Why did they not see it coming? Why did Roosevelt Skerritt not see the wisdom for going and doing the hard negotiations for Ross University? People of Dominica, people of Portsmouth, we deserve better. We deserve better. What we have in this country passing for government is a sorry excuse. It is a sorry excuse. We need better, we deserve better, and we can do better. And so my call for you tonight, my appeal to you, the people of Dominica tonight, is to take a hard look, a hard, long look at what this government has done to Dominica. This country's economy is in shambles. This country's economy is going nowhere, and worse is yet to come. You will have more layoffs. You will have more problems. I am told that Ross contributed as much as 10% of the monthly income for Domlec. 10%, that's a lot that they contributed to Domlec. All of that is gone. There will be ripple effects. The small restaurants will be shut down. All of this is going to happen. And the tourists, Liat is going to be affected. The students and their families who came to visit, they were the main persons from the U.S. coming in as tourists. These are all gone. So our visitor arrivals is going to go down. Liat is going to take a hit. And you can go on and on and on. The ripple impact, the ripple effects that is going to take place in this economy. And I cannot for the life of me understand that this government, instead of apologizing to the people of Dominica, finding excuses, trying to debate, well, it is not 20%, it is 5%, it is 10%. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed that you allow a 40-year institution that has stayed through every disaster, every hurricane, every flood, every natural disaster has remained in place, and yet this institution is gone. This is to the record of the Labour Party, and forever, when the history of Dominica is written, this will go down as one of the most shameful chapters in the history of Dominica, because it shows above all else that this government is incompetent, that this government could care less, that this government is hopeless, that this government is bankrupt of ideas. They can see problems coming to address it before it happens. They're blind. You know, you can think of every adjective possible to define, and none of them good for this government. But this is the legacy of the Labour Party government. This is what we have. So what? And that is the question I want to leave with you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as I see my time is up. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about the Labour Party government? I can't hear you. Sorry, what are you saying? I can't hear very well. Vote them out. Let's say it all together. Vote them out. Vote them out. Portsmouth people, let's join in the chant 3 more times. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. Thank you and good night.
You don't know who really is the doctor. I will say no more as I bring a firebrand to the podium from the West Coast. We don't boast there, and we don't say we know the most, but we bring firebrands. The tough one, the hard-working one, the reliable one, the dedicated one, the committed panel rep of Salisbury constituency, the Honorable Hector John.
Workers! $1. Ian always say that Portsmouth is jardin patat labor, but labor let the fertilizer go. Labor let Ross go. So let me hear you. Portsmouth is jardin patat labor, but labor let the fertilizer go. Brothers and sisters, fellow workers at home and abroad, I bring you greetings from the people of Salisbury, Coolibistry, and Monrachet. But brothers and sisters, let me just first touch Coolibistry. Over the weekend, there was an accident in Coolibistry, Placerville area, where a gentleman lost his life. There was a vehicle accident. And Remy, Radical, Joseph lost his life. And then you have Remy Reynolds Blanc at the hospital. They're related, family close by, same area they live, and it was unfortunate. We just want to extend sympathies to Miriam and Charlton and all the others on Radical side, and also wish Reynolds a speedy recovery. But brothers and sisters, Salisbury is connected to Portsmouth via Ross. And I want to show you why. A lot of the agriculture produce you buy in Portsmouth market come from Salisbury. The smoothies and all the others you drink at the food court in Ross come from, the fruits come from Salisbury. So we are connected. 2004, when I built my house, it was rented to Ross for 4 years. And imagine the professor from my house in Grand Savannah left and went to the villas at Savannah Pie. So you understand how Salisbury is connected to Ross. And you have a few landlords on the Grand Savannah in Salisbury that have rented their houses for Ross. And I know it's going to affect them personally in terms of their income. But when Ross left, when Ross came into Dominica, in 1978, the small businesses in Dominica began to thrive. And when they moved to Portsmouth, they were in Castaways, but when they moved into Portsmouth, remember you had all these snackets on the highway, Vicky via around Ross, but took the United Workers'
because he cannot do anything with it. He doesn't have to run the bus on the road. My $2 billion company leave Portsmouth and be quiet. Like nothing happened. People of Portsmouth, let us do something quickly. Let us look at the food court built by the United Workers' Party. In 4.5 years, I tell you, a few things workers did for Ross University to keep them here. The food court, 21 stalls. Every stall, you had to pay $250 per month to the Portsmouth Town Council, headed right now by Mr. Titus Francis. $250 by 21. That is $5,250 per month. For a year, the Portsmouth Town Council was getting in revenue $63,000. So for 18 years, they got $1.1 million from the court. You know, tell me 10 months after after Maria, that the Portsmouth Town Council cannot fix the food courts? Think about that, you know. $1.1 million in 18 years you collected from the food courts. And Maria passed. You said your government said they were ready for us. But you cannot fix the simple food courts. You know what happened there? The Aarons that making the juice and the smoothies, they fixed their stalls. And then a young lady from Biosh fixed part of her stores, and sometimes you'll pass there and she's selling somewhere in the bus stop. Magwesa. Me say jardin, patat labor, and labor led the fertilizer. Brothers and sisters, people of Portsmouth, I wanted to understand the importance Ross played in our agriculture sector. And you know the juice man from Portsmouth, the one that said that Kerry came to politics like a vete. He had nothing. But now he's a multimillionaire. And our farmers from around Dominica would sell in the Portsmouth market to our students from Ross. And that will help them, brothers and sisters, send their children to school. How many of you are going to send your children to school in September in Portsmouth? I am hearing that some people quiet because the Prime Minister say he coming in some money. I am telling you, brothers and sisters, don't let that allow that to happen to you. Simbot go movement. Ross left about 3 weeks now, you know. But the government never have a press conference to tell you why Ross left. Oh, Ross, you said that you care about the people of Portsmouth, the people of the North. Listen to that, you know. They have about 5 whole ministers. Catherine Daniel, Collier constituency. Rosalind Paul, Paybush. Reginald Austri, Cottage. Roosevelt Skerritt, Prime Minister and Power Rep for Vickers. And the parliamentary representative from Portsmouth, they have said nothing. But Portsmouth is the jardin patat of Labour. But Labour allow the fertilizer too. people of Portsmouth, I met a good friend of mine who's a fisherman in the area. And he was selling his fish across the Ruby's gas station. He's from somewhere, Zikak. And when you see these fishermen go out there, they're risking their lives. But they come back here in Portsmouth to sell to the different restaurants and bars and snack it to feed the students at Ross. They have families. They have to go back to feed their families. But if Ross exit, if every dollar in Dominica, every dollar in Dominica, 30 cents was from Ross. So now, people of Portsmouth, no matter what dollar, you have $100, you walk in with $70. If you have $1, you walk in with 70 cents. Because Ross is no longer in Portsmouth. As I wind down, brothers and sisters, I must touch my constituency, Salisbury. Because little Tony and his other group trying to tie Salisbury in their nonsense. Saying because of the protests in Salisbury, Ross left. I want to send them a message that the Americans see protests day in, day out. That is what happened in the United States is a democratic country. So a protest in Salisbury, we had Ross students sitting in there and looking at what's going on. So stop using Salisbury as a scapegoat. Stop using Salisbury as a scapegoat. Deal with the situation. Ian Douglas, Reginald Austri, Roosevelt Skerritt, Rosalind Paul, Catherine Daniel and the rest. Address your situation and leave Salisbury out. Ian Douglas, Portsmouth, say Jade Patat, Labour. But Ian Douglas, Reginald Austri, Roosevelt Skerritt, Catherine Daniel, Rosalind Paul, and all the others allow Ross, the fertilizer of Portsmouth, to go. Good night and God bless.
Yes. The five. We know their names. They have allowed the fertilizer to go. We will get a song on that. But whilst we are getting the words for the song, another area that requires fertilization is on the northeast. And I bring to you another firebrand. He may have given hype for his fire, given away hype for his fire. We have to make no adjustment to the podium. But I am proud to bring, to address us here this evening, our parliamentary representative for the Wesley constituency, the Honorable Ezekiel Bazil.
Workers? Well, why you all so far now? Why you all so far? Why you all so far? We come here for a purpose, you know. We are here for a purpose. Why you all so far? You mustn't be afraid of the lights. You're here for a purpose. Come forward. Because it won't be long before the rest of the people are going to be up with you. Okay? We love you. We love you. Brothers and sisters, normally when I come to the podium, I come with serious solidarity from Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Palm Tree. Tonight, I am feeling bad. I am earning with sympathy for the people of Portsmouth because there's nothing for you to be solid about in Portsmouth. Everything to be sympathetic about, because this government has let down the people of Portsmouth. They have let down the people of Portsmouth. Brothers and sisters, the light is in my eyes, but I see something marked here. House, restaurant, Douglas bar, something like this. May his soul rest in peace. The Honorable Michael Douglas fought for us to be in Dominica, tooth and nail, and he gave his all to it. He gave his all to it, brothers and sisters. They fought, brothers and sisters, and they brought Ross at Castaways Hotel. That's what Michael Douglas did under the Labour Party. So Ross had a first piece of Labour, whilst Portsmouth was also supporting Labour. The same Castaways that, may his soul rest in peace, this is Mike Douglas, brought Ross to Labour kill Castaways, mash up Castaways, put people out of work in Castaways under Labour. And the movie goes on because the people of Dominica wants to benefit. There comes who, brothers and sisters? Mary Eugenia Charles. And Amor, the Amors, fought with Miss Charles to ensure that Ross University came to Portsmouth, and Rosie was tooth and nail, was tooth and nail with them to ensure that Ross got into Portsmouth and create a better life for the people of Portsmouth. And that was done, brothers and sisters. No amount of resistance from the Iron Lady, may her soul rest in peace, could prevent Ross University from coming to Portsmouth with Amor and deceased Mike. May the both souls rest in peace. These people have fought for Portsmouth, and they brought it to Portsmouth. And there, brothers and sisters, going the boom of Portsmouth, Portsmouth started to become something, and Portsmouth started to grow, and Portsmouth started to move forward, brothers and sisters. What happened next? The United Workers' Party came into being, and the United Workers' Party said that was good for Portsmouth. That was good. And under the leadership of Honorable Edison James, who's alive and well and kicking, brothers and sisters, he facilitated the activity at Ross. Honorable Edison James. He did very well. Under the leadership of Honorable Edison James and the United Workers' Party, Ross received land for further expansion so that they could build up on the activities here. And Honorable Edison James and the United Workers' Party gave Portsmouth the Ross Boulevard, brothers and sisters. That is serious governance, because Mike Douglas, Amor, Miss Charles, and the Edison James understood the importance of Ross to the people of Portsmouth. And he went further. And Honorable James, brothers and sisters, left Dominica, and he engaged with Mr. Ross in Washington, brothers and sisters, on a number of occasions, and to ensure that he provided guidance for the university and for Portsmouth and for Dominica by extension. And Honorable Edison James, under the United Workers' Party, ensured that Ross stayed here. Here is your boulevard. Here is all your facilities to help your students. Here are the housing. Here are the facilities through the aid bank. Let us give you what you want. We want you to remain with us. And Honorable Edison James did that, brothers and sisters. And what happened? Remember, by then, Labour had already killed Castaways where they started. And the governments of Dominica are fighting to keep an institution that are contributing quite a bit to our economy. There's so much mess about the percentage of contribution right now that I will not get involved in the stupidness. What I will say is that these Ross have been contributing. And then you have massive development in the area. Thank God for Whitchurch, who decided to come in the area. And under this government, we all see the state of we church to the point that the government had to give we church money to bail them out, brothers and sisters. To that extent, the government, when they mash up we church under us, the government had to turn around and give we church money to bail them out. Something that I agreed to. But don't forget, that is under this government that we church ended up in trouble and had to go and ask for money to bail them out. I'm happy to bail out we church, and I want to see we church succeed. But it's the government, this Labour Party, that put we church under pressure. It is this Labour Party that put we church under pressure, and their duty to bail out we church was theirs. And the movie moves on, brothers and sisters. 18 long years of this Labour Party, plus another maybe 4 years of the previous Labour Party. Minimum of 22 years under Labour was Ross University. Out of the 40 years, more than half of their life in Dominica was under Labour, brothers and sisters. But the development of Ross was never under Labour. It was under the United Workers' Party and part under the Freedom Party. Could you imagine what have happened? It had to take, brothers and... By the way, what mark over there? Douglas, House, Douglas. It had to take another Douglas under this Labour Party to mash up Ross. Ian, get serious. It had to take Ian with the rest of the Dominica Labour Party to mash up Ross in Dominica and run Ross out of Dominica. And now they tell me, don't let it be political. Don't let it. But there was no church. None of the churches in Dominica was managing Ross. It was political parties. And these hypocrites now come and tell me, let us try to keep this thing patriotic and not be political. It is political. It is political. It is the political Labour Party under Ian and the rest of the crew that run Ross out of Portsmouth. It is political. Brothers and sisters, let us not be hypocrites, because tomorrow morning when your electricity bill goes up because the projection of Domlec does not satisfy their pockets, and Domlec decides for some reason we cannot keep the cost, we must pass the cost on. Who are they going to pass the cost to? Who are they going to pass the cost to? And when the WASCO realized that there was a cost incurred, and the cost incurred is putting them under pressure, and they need to make a profit, who will they pass the cost to? All of us. All of us. So it's not a Portsmouth issue now. It's not a Portsmouth issue. It's a Dominica issue, because they will not pass the additional cost to Portsmouth people. They will pass it to all of Dominica, and all of Dominica will pay. And if all of Dominica will pay, all of Dominica should say Labour must go. All of Dominica should say Labour must. I want to hear you. I want to hear you in Portsmouth. What should happen to Labour? What should happen to Labour? This is political. This is political. This is not religious. This is not religious, brothers and sisters. No church, none of the churches run Ross out of Dominica. When you have a government, brothers and sisters, who has been hostile to the sponsors of Ross University, what do you expect? When you have a government that's been hostile, this government has said to a number of nations, you should not enter the United States of America. That went to the courts. And the United States won. They won. They won the ban, brothers and sisters. And in the meantime, this incompetent government, instead of developing our manufacturing sector, out there selling passports to the same people who are sponsors to the university. Brothers and sisters, this is a real thing. It hurts me. It hurts me. It hurts me as a politician to see that United Workers' Party, under the leadership of Lennox Linton, Honorable, can bring a better life to Dominica, can bring a better life to Dominica. And you have some lazy guys, all they're concerned about is staying in power so that they stay out of jail. All they're concerned about is staying in power so they stay out of jail. When we get into office, the chip will fall where it may. It will fall where it may, because this nonsense must stop. and the abuse of political parties by the citizens to the citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica must stop. It must stop, brothers and sisters. I call on you who are here tonight. Let me tell you something. This thing is not going to stop in Portsmouth. Workers, go out in every village of yours. Go out in every corner of your village. Go out in every constituency, every corner of constituency, and ensure that we bring home victory to the United Workers' Party, a team of competent men and women, a team with a competent leader, a team with a strong leader who will change the lives of Dominicans for once and for all in Portsmouth, in Collier, in Wesley, in Woodford Hill, in Calibishi, in Scott's Head, in La Plaine, in Castle Bruce. We will change the lives of Dominicans in Dominica. We're fed up with Labour. Labour have shown us that after 18 years they could not do it. After 18 years they could not do it. They will not be able to do it now. And as a result, Labour must go. Labour must go. We must remove them. Ezekiel Bazil say, the movement of Ross University is political. We're going to treat it as if it is political, and we're going to take the Dominican Labour Party out of government for once and for all. Let them go on rest. Let workers come and make a difference to the lives of the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. May God bless you, and I love you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are now Ross University School of Medicine has left under the incompetence of this Labour Party government. And tonight is the beginning of the political institute of the United Workers' Party. We are here to educate you. We have begun the education. Your examination will come at the next general election, and you only have one thing to get your diploma. One thing only you must do. Look at the paper, and wherever you see the saw, look for the name next to it and put the X there. That X will be your diploma. At this time, we go into the Roseau North. Yes. We go into the Roseau North, the exorcist, the powerhouse in the House of Assembly. We bring to you Honorable Danny Lugay.
Roseau North, where are you? Roll call time. Roseau South, where are you? Roseau Central and Soso, where are you? Roseau Valley, where are you? Point Michelle and Dr. Sam, where are you? Maho, where are you? Monel and Sanjo, where are you? Colliho, where are you? Portsmouth, you got to represent. You got to represent. I bring you warm greetings from the constituency of Roseau North. You know, 30 years ago I worked here, so you know I'm not a spring chicken. 30 years ago. You see that building behind you? I slept there and I ate lower down by Les was. Picard Estate was bananas only. So I watched the transformation. I saw the transformation from bananas to what we have now. It made the people of Portsmouth from paupers to some millionaires. It made you independent. You didn't have to beg anymore. But what has happened? I know the people of Portsmouth, they didn't hear the 2018-2019 budget. So I'm going to give you a little bit of that clip in a while. In that budget, I listened to Prime Minister Skerritt to see if he would mention the name of Ross and how he's going to bring back Ross to Dominica. Not one mention. Then came the power rep of Portsmouth, Ian Douglas. And he never mentioned the name Ross University. I was the first from the opposition to speak on Ross. And do you know what Ian did? He rose on a point of order to say to the world that he could not see the significance of a $1 billion industry. I want you to listen carefully. Mr. DJ, please line up that clip for me and be very quiet and listen carefully to what happened in the House when I tried to represent the people of Portsmouth. Mr. DJ, bring it down. We have had 4 promises of international airports, 1 for each upcoming election since the year 2000. Ross University is waiting for the implementation of this fantasy airport. And speaking of Ross, Madam Speaker, total investment for Ross University, $1 billion. The airline business associated with Ross is waiting. Car rentals, food courts and restaurants in Portsmouth, shops and supermarkets, farmers, home owners, guest houses, hotels, lilac-colored villas, Ross physical infrastructure, the banking sector, the staff of Ross University, local lecturers, utility companies, investment, the Wasco, Domlec Flow. I understand that Domlec's biggest customer is Ross University. Madam Speaker, a bird in the hand investment ready to be given up by a distracted pal rep and negligent Prime Minister. I'm hearing administrators of Ross flew into Dominica by private jet, and for 4 hours they were waiting on Prime Minister Skerrit. Too busy to speak with the administrators of Ross. People of Portsmouth, is this how Prime Minister Skerrit has your back? He said he's going to turn Portsmouth into a Las Vegas strip. But, Madam Speaker, the people of Portsmouth have their bird in their hand, which is Ross University, and Prime Minister Skerrit is attempting to give that away. Banks are on the verge of seizing properties in Portsmouth, yet Prime Minister Skerrit wants to give Ross away. People of Portsmouth, it's time to stand for yourself. Minister Douglas won't stand for you. Prime Minister Skerrit won't stand for you. Mike Douglas of blessed memory is turning in his grave. You must stand for yourself before it is too late. Or is it too late? You must answer that question, the people of Portsmouth.
Have you asked
Elections, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's almost 2 decades Dominicans have been waiting for electoral reform. We heard the Independent Electoral Commission announcing a voter verification project to begin on the 2nd of July 2018. It's now
Madam Speaker, may I rise on a point of order, please? Madam Speaker, may I rise on a point of order, please?
The member has risen on a point.
As a colleague parliamentarian, I sat back and wanted to afford the member a certain latitude, being that we debating the budget. But the member is obviously in contradiction with the rules of the House. You started speaking about Ross.
You rose on a point of order. You haven't told me which standing order yet. Yes?
Madam Speaker, under Section 43(6), Madam Speaker, a member cannot be engaged in tedious and repetitive arguments, Madam Speaker. And irrelevant, Madam Speaker. A member must speak. A member must speak on the bill before the House, Madam Speaker. A member must address the bill before the House.
I will have just a minute.
Madam Speaker, if I may quote, from the House. No member, Madam Speaker, shall, Madam Speaker, 43. Yeah. Yeah, Madam.
Check my time, Madam Speaker, please.
Madam Speaker, the member is obviously in breach of the standing orders of the House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, order. Madam Speaker, content of speeches, Madam Speaker. Okay? Subject to the provisions of the standing orders, Debate upon any motion, bill or amendment shall be relevant to such motion. Madam Speaker, where is the relevance of Ross University in all this argument? Where is the relevance, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, where is the relevance of this, Madam Speaker?
I am ruling. I have to agree with the member. I think you have gone on a... I am going...
I'm not on Ross University. I'm on election. D28. That's where I am. D28, not Ross.
Yeah, but...
I've left Ross. I know you don't like that subject, but I've left it. I'm finished with Ross.
And you're rising to... go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker.
But it must be relevant.
I'm on elections, not Ross University. So you heard what happened there? Ross University. You heard what happened there? Your pal rep is saying he cannot see the significance of Ross University. And the old speaker agreed with Ian. $1 billion business disappearing before your very eyes. I heard Ian Douglas complaining about a football game on Benjamin's Park. And $1 billion business, he's not angry about that. People of Portsmouth, it is time for you to stand for yourself. It is time for you to stand for yourself. I know you want to hear about solutions. That's why you came. That's why you are listening in your homes. But before you get solutions, and some of my colleagues will address the solutions, we must diagnose the problem. The country is sick. Dominica is sick. And we must diagnose what the problem is. It is mismanagement. Bananas died under them. The coffee plant died under them. Geothermal, we're hearing about it for 10 long years. Bankers and lawyers becoming millionaires under geothermal. And we cannot get a 2-megawatt plant. Every time is an election cycle, we're getting promises of an airport. Ross University officials, they were listening carefully in the budget to hear how much money is being allocated for the airport. Not a cent in the next 3 election cycles. People of Portsmouth, wake up. I won't be much longer. I have to give space for my political leader. But you got to wake up. We got to shake you up. What I knew 30 years ago, this town was more vibrant. Then came Ross University, and some of you became millionaires. Now, Skerrit wants you to beg him. Rise up, people of Portsmouth. It is time for change. Give change a chance. Give change a chance. God bless you. God bless the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Thank you. We have a number of other speakers to go on. We have a number of other speakers, and I'm going to get a little break to drink some water. And it is my pleasure to bring my assistant and the caretaker for the Roseau Valley constituency, who will help me in a while whilst I go drink some water. We want to bring on Mr. Ronald Charles, who will bring you greetings from his constituency and introduce the next 2 speakers.
Okay, good evening, and good evening to everybody. A special good evening to the people of Portsmouth. But more so, let me bring solidarity from the Roseau Valley. We don't have time because we have a lot of people to speak, so I'm not going to say much. But I'll say one thing. Portsmouth people, lives matters. That's all I will say. And with that, why I say this is because at the end of the day, you may have a family. You may have a husband. You may have a wife. There is a family. There are times that the husband and the wife do things that are not right. You then have to look at the future of the children. And it's not about politics. It's not about trying to say that we come here to make you change your minds. We come here to make you think about the future of our children. And sometimes when your husband and your wife is not doing a good job, you have to pull them up. You don't have to offend them. You don't have to feel bad. But for the sake of your children, you have to make a change. And ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it goes down deep because you will say to yourself, that this is a party that you have built. This is a party that you have been close to, and therefore to move away from them might be difficult. But sometimes the difficult decisions we make in our life is not for ourselves, but for the future of the people who comes after us. And ladies and gentlemen, on this note, let me, without no further ado, let me introduce the young lady from St. Joseph. Put your hands together for Mona Williams. Oh, John Baptist, sorry.
Thank you so much, Ronald Charles, the same Ronald Charles. Workers, can you resound that in Portsmouth for me, please? Workers! The labor rights in Portsmouth, I say a wonderful good evening to you. I bring you greetings from the St. Joseph constituency. I am not here to talk for a very long time. We have all ventilated the issues that surrounded Ross. Each of you in Portsmouth feels it personally. I passed through Picard on my way through here to Burroughs Square, and I felt the despondency in Picard. But without vision, a people